Lincoln freed the slaves. And when it came to slavery, slavery had two major components. It had a mental component and it had a physical component. The slave owners realized that it's very inefficient for a slave to have shackles on his feet to be in the field picking cotton. It's only so much he can do if he's got his feet shackled to a tree or something. So they had to figure out, how can I put a slave in the field and not have him leave that field? So for the slave owner, he had a problem. And how he solved that problem is he realized that slavery can be physical, but slavery can also be mental. When Lincoln freed the slaves, there was a physical component of slavery that was removed. The physical component, the shackles, the locks and the chains were removed, so I'm free. But then there was a mental component. Now the mental component took hundreds of years to install in the psyche of the slave, and the mental component was not freed overnight. The mental component was designed in such a way where slaves would further enslave themselves. It was kind of like that crab in the bucket type of mentality of trying to pull each other down. It's like if you instill it in them and make this a part of their everyday behavior, then this is what they'll automatically, subconsciously do. So the mental components of slavery, it can be argued, was never really dealt with institutionally, meaning as a system of treatment to attack or to alleviate this. However, through individual efforts and through various programs or practices through individual families, ones have found ways to overcome or to attempt to overcome the mental shackles of slavery. But to some, the effects are still there. That imprisonment of the mind. And so, if you find that you want to be free in this world, but on a subconscious level, your actions can be kind of looked at as being, man, like this is the kind of stuff that slaves do. The things that I do, are they on a slave type of level or a king type of level? If it's on a slave type of level, you know it because you feel like you're in bondage. You feel like you're stuck on a farm. You feel like you're isolated. You feel like you can't go but so far, because when you do, these invisible chains rise up to grab you by the leg and pull you back. Now, to defeat the mental components of slavery, to defeat the system that was installed to reinforce the behavior of being a slave, you gotta work on the mind. You gotta look at the mind as being a computer that has viruses in the background. These viruses tend to self-replicate. These viruses are so deeply rooted and entangled, it's going to be hard to separate them from your mainframe without some form of guidance. You got to get your antivirus software. You got to go in there and root out these viruses. And depending on how many there are, you got to sit down and be willing to systematically go through the mind and be constantly on watch to be looking for when a virus can be acting and influencing your conscious life.